What's up, guys? Mad Max here, once again. Couple of years older, a little bit more beard going on over here, and I gotta apologize. It's been a couple of years. I've really been slacking on the YouTube videos, and I need to get back on it. Had some interesting stuff going on the past couple of years, trying to get my business going, and just been slacking a little bit. So, wanted to give you guys a quick garage update. And here we go. So, first off, wanted to start off with my 2016 Audi S6. So you can see right there. So, I've never done any videos on this car. I've owned the car since new. I picked it up December of 2015. The car has Miltech catless downpipes, has a Rock Euro intake, and an APR Stage 2 tune, as well as an APR trans tune. Car's super quick. I also did an intercooler upgrade on it, which I should really do a quick video on as well. Actually, you know what? Let me show you guys right now. Alright, boy is it hot under here. Now, this is burning hot, right? My intercooler is this little metal piece under here. I can keep my hand on it up for an extended period of time. But anything metal under the hood otherwise, burning hot. And what you're hearing running right now is my intercooler pump. So what I did to this car, really plain and simply, was I put in an intercooler pump, which goes behind here, from an AMG, I think it was an AMG GT. It might be all the AMG 4.0s use the same pump, but it's an AMG pump. And it's a 3-wire setup. Power and ground, and then there's a third wire that's signal that comes from the ECU. The ECU commands how much it should run, if it should run at all, and also the pump communicates back to the ECU telling it if there is fluid in the system. The pump is actually an intelligent pump and can tell if there's air in the system and will not run at full speed if it senses air in the system. I tried it. I powered it up off a drill battery separately. That's how it is. You also cannot power it up backwards, because the ECU has reverse voltage protection, or when I say ECU, I mean the ECU on the water pump. Now, this might look unfamiliar to people that know these 4.0 Audis. There is usually a vacuum canister that goes there. I relocated it. Let's see if you can see it. It's kind of down below. You can see the vacuum tube right here. Right, that little vacuum tube that runs down there hooks up to it. So I relocated it over to there. Let's see, you can see the vacuum tubing right here, which is held up quite well. It runs all the way across. And then I mounted this guy. So this is a coolant tank for the intercooler system. So this is a water-to-air intercooler. And basically what I did was I put a T on the factory intercooler circuit. I plugged up the tube that comes from the factory expansion tank that goes to the intercooler system, and then put this in line so that the intercooler pump pumps fluid into here, and then it gets sucked out of here and goes into the intercooler. Pretty neat stuff. And then I have, again, I don't know if you guys can see it back there, but you can see this like black radiator. That is a Merc Racing heat exchanger, which a lot of the B5 S4 guys like. Now you'll see the switch here as well, this little Amazon cheapy switch. This is actually an interruption to my signal wire. So basically when the pump doesn't sense any signal from the ECU but it has battery power, it runs all of the time. So the car shuts off power from time to time. Well, whenever the car's off, it'll shut off power after a couple minutes. But otherwise, like when you open a door, this gets power. So listen right now, I'm going to open the door, which I can't really hold the camera and do this. Well, I can't hold the camera there, but listen. Now you'll hear it go. That's the intercooler pump. Now that's because it's getting no signal from the car saying that it should be on or off, but it's getting battery power. So I have this switch wired in here. If I hit it, it then gets a signal from the ECU, and as you can hear, it shut off. The reason why I did this was so I can open this. This is a standard Mishimoto radiator cap for an expansion tank. It releases pressure at about 15 psi, And basically what you do is you just press down on it and twist it off. And in here, there's a little bit of pressure in there. And then, let me see if I can get a light for you guys. Hold on a second here. All right, now you can see there is fluid in there. Pretty cool, right? And then this little tube here is a dump in case it builds up too much pressure. Works great. Getting significantly lower IATs, which these 4.0 Audi motors have really big trouble with. I'm running stock turbos right now, so I am planning on eventually doing an upgrade on the turbos. So I wanted to kind of upgrade everything first so that when I do turbos, I basically tune and go. So let me put this back together, and then we'll move on to the Type R. All right, next up, the intercooler pump's still running on the Audi. Next up is the Type R. So Type R I've had for almost 2 years at this point. Polished it up pretty nicely, as you can see, but the paint is not good. Unfortunately, the paint's just too far past it with the lime damage on it. However, car runs great. Had a lot of fun with it. I have almost 2,000 miles on it since I got it. And it's going off to bring a trailer in the next, I don't know, week or two. We did photos today. Had a lot of fun with it, but it's time to move on. That's the story with that, and that's going to be up for sale soon. So let's check out the new car to my fleet. All right, guys, so ran out of sunlight yesterday and didn't get a chance to film the third car. So here it is. A 2010 Audi S4. Let's talk a little bit about it. All right, so here she is, the 2010 S4. As you can see, we have a little hole right there on the bumper. And the reason why is because this is a rebuilt title vehicle. The accident that happened in the front put that hole in the bumper. It broke the grille, it destroyed the hood, and it put a hole in the radiator, as well as breaking the headlight tabs on both sides, which are still actually broken. Somebody bought this car, got a rebuilt title in Pennsylvania by putting a junkyard hood on it, a cheap Chinese RS grille in it, and a radiator and AC condenser, and it's good to go. The car never had an airbag deployment, and the damage was fairly minor, surprisingly. So why did I buy a rebuilt title? Well, normally I don't, but the price was right, and I bought it to be a donor car to build a B8 S4 Avant. Now, anybody watching in Europe is asking me why I would dare attempt such a swap, but in the US, we never got the S4 Avant, at least in this body style. We got them from 04 to 08, and before that, we got the B5 as well, but never in the B8 body. So, this was a great starting point, I figured, as a donor car, and I started driving it. And first off, the transmission had a gear selector fault, which cost about $3,000 to fix, which was very painful. But I paid $6,500 for the whole car with 130,000 miles. So it's okay. I'm in it a little bit more than I should be. All right, so you guys are probably asking, why are we only seeing the front of the car? Well, let's take a quick step back here. The reason why I didn't do an Avant swap is A, I don't have the space, and B, I hurt my back. So a lot of mechanical work is out of my grasp right now. I have 2 herniated discs. I can't do major mechanical stuff, and I can't really move around that well, unfortunately. But I did get this done. And I had to pay somebody to do it, but I think it was worth it. So, without further ado, oh yeah, you guys can't see it, huh? Let me flip the camera around. Here's what I was hiding from you guys. It's a rally build. So, starting off with wheels and tires, I have the OZ Racing 18x8s with a 35 offset, and I have a BF Goodrich All-Terrain KO2 that is a 255 55/18. Now, for those of you that are not complete Audi nerds, which is 99.9% of the people that are watching this, that means these wheels are 3 inches taller than a factory 19-inch wheel tire setup. Pretty cool, right? Now, how exactly did I fit those under the car? Well, it was quite simple, actually. I lifted the car on SQ5 springs. Now, there are a couple little issues, mainly in the back. Now, as you can see, we have not enough clearance, or just enough clearance to fit my fingers in the front of the rear wheel well. In the back, I got all the room in the world. And I don't think there's a way to correct that. Well, there is a way to correct it by doing different control arms, but that's just not in the cards right now. So it does rub a little bit on hard bumps, usually when it droops a little bit, but totally livable and totally drivable. Now the car does seem like it's a little devoid of color, but I got some future plans and future videos. Alright, one other thing that I want to talk about with these wheels. The front wheels, the front brakes were already done with ceramic pads, so they are a low dust pad. If you notice in the back, this looks grungy. Now, I ceramic coated these wheels, and they still don't stay clean. The original metallic pads are in the back, and white wheels are a nightmare to keep clean. So I don't know what I'm going to do about this. For now, I'm going to live with it. But I think I'm going to have to end up changing to low dust pads because I just can't deal with this. It's driving me insane. Now, I know this car looks like a great car in video, and I'm sure somebody's going to get angry about the fact that I destroyed a perfectly good S4. But let's face facts. The car is a rebuilt title, and the body's not clean. So just to show you guys, so that the camera doesn't hide anything, I mean, we have dents, we have major misalignments. Let's see if you guys can get that too. Yeah, that shouldn't be that big of a gap. I mean, this car is clean. I don't know if, yeah, you guys can see the rock chips right there. Same thing on this side. The bumper is obviously whacked, which I did not do, I swear. Doesn't even fit right over here. This particularly lovely thing, which is actually the door bent in. Let's see if I can kind of get it. Yay! There we go. Let's see if you guys can... There's the bent door. Major scratches. Scratches. More scratches. Let's see if I can really get that. More scratches. Rear bumper. Yeah. I got the car like this, mind you. I mean, I park in the city. And when I say the city, I mean New York City. But still. This will show you. There's actually not a ton of rubbing, believe it or not, back here. But yeah, you can see, I mean, cracks, chips. It's not in great shape, folks, so don't get upset that I destroyed a perfectly good vehicle. It's not. Anyway, let's go for a ride. All right, so why would I do something to a perfectly not so good S4? Well, I wanted something that was not only all-weather capable, which any Audi can basically do, but I wanted it to be all-street capable. Meaning, I didn't want to worry about potholes. When I got the car, it had bent wheels on it, and I bubbled a tire probably a week after I bought it. So I said, F this. I'm done. I'm going lift. So it took a lot of research. Basically, what I did was I looked into the suspension components. Now, Q5 and A4 S4 use the same suspension components. CV axles, ball joints, suspension arms, knuckles, brakes in some cases. Sorry, just driving around here. Oh, a Fox body. It's pretty cool. So, all the suspension components were the same, save for the struts and shocks. So I figured, okay, maybe I need to get SQ5 struts and shocks as well as the lift springs. Well, Bilstein makes a shock and strut kit, and it is the same for SQ5, Q5, A4, S4, A5, S5, and A6, believe it or not. So that told me that the shock shafts were all the same length, even though they might be valved a little bit differently from the factory and then require different part numbers. So I rolled the dice. I bought SQ5 springs. And it worked. Now before I did that, I bought lift kit spacers from Russia, which were more than what I paid for used SQ5 springs and didn't give me as much lift. When I put them on, we put these wheels and tires on, which shout out to Tire Rack, I got the OZ wheels from them, and the BF Goodrich tires were on back order, so I had to actually end up buying those used, which I normally wouldn't do, but whatever, it is what it is. When we put the wheels and tires on with the spacers meaning the suspension spacers, not the spacers on the wheels. There are no spacers on the wheels. The tires rubbed. So, plan B, put actual SQ5 springs in. Works great. The only thing is, on really, really hard bumps, the rear will rub. And I mean really, really hard bumps. So, this begs the question, how does a lifted S4 on all-terrain tires drive? Well, other than a lot of added road noise around town, it drives pretty well. Now, I will say that stopping distances have increased because these tires just simply don't have the grip. Dry weather handling isn't really that decreased, believe it or not, but wet weather, you certainly feel it fighting for grip in corners a little bit more. I think that in snow, it's going to be proven to be an amazing, amazing car. And it looks really cool. Totally different than anything else you'd see. Plus, I love the fact that I can hop curbs. I also drive the car a lot in New York City. It handles potholes with no issues whatsoever. It's really the perfect city car because it's kind of beat up, so I don't care about where I park it, and I can drive over potholes and not care. And it's compact, so it can fit in a lot of parking spaces. So, for me, it worked out great. I think it might have worked out better than doing an Avant swap, believe it or not. Alright, so I know this driving section was a pretty short one. I didn't really get to talk too much about the car, but I don't think you guys really want to get bored with that. So as I said earlier in the video, sorry about the lack of action on my YouTube channel. I'm going to try and get a few more videos up now. Just life got in the way. But anyway, I hope you guys like this project. If you do, like and subscribe. Comment, let me know what you think of it. I know it's a little bit of a crazy, ambitious project, but the car's already lifted, which I think is the hard part. So the rest of it, I think, is really downhill from here. Got a couple mods already at the house ready to go on, and I'll be doing some videos, hopefully, of that soon. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, you know the deal. And catch you guys soon. Thanks again.